How you doing, everybody? Today we're going to be taking a look at the support Witch Doctor. My name is Avedon from Avedon Gaming, and we're going to be going over the 0 DPS crowd controlling spec for a Witch Doctor. We're going to go ahead and get started with the spells. The first thing we're going to look at is Piranhas. We're going to be using Paranado. This is going to group all enemies into one spot and increase the damage that they take. Next, we're going to look at Spirit Walk. We're going to be using Jaunt. This is going to give you increased survivability, increased movement speed, and time. It'll get you out of some jams. Big Bad Voodoo. We're going to be using Slam Dance. This is one of the key pieces of the build. This is where you make up for the lack of damage on your end by heavily buffing the damage of all your DPS classes. This spell will be able to be dropped multiple times and in multiple places during the same battle. Fetish Army. We're going to be using Legion of Daggers. This spell, and combined with your gear, was how you're going to reset the cooldown on your Big Bad Voodoo and your Fetish Army. Having the extra dagger-wielding fetishes out there, more hits equals more seconds off your cooldown. Next, Horrify, Face of Death. Horrify is your key crowd control spell. Face of Death extends the range of that spell. Mass Confusion, Paranoia. Mass Confuse will cause the enemies to fight for you, it'll daze them, and the crowd control them. With the 20% increased additional damage from Paranoia, again, buffs the fact that you don't deal much damage by increasing the damage of your DPS classes. As for passive skills, we're going to be using Tribal Rites. Tribal Rites reduces the cooldown of your Fetish Army, Big Bad Voodoo, and Mass Confuse, allowing you to juggle your spells more efficiently. Jungle Fortitude is going to reduce the damage you take by 15%. It's a must. Your survivability allows you to buff the DPS in the group, increasing damage. Spirit Vessel. This allows you to have a cheat death. In the case that you do get caught by an ability or a crowd control that you can't handle, this is going to bring you back up, and it's useful once every 90 seconds. Zombie Handler. 20% increased health. Enough said. The next thing we're going to look at is the gear. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first piece. This is a must for the build, is the Tiglandian Visage. So what this is going to do for you is it's going to, when you cast Horrify, it's going to root enemies in the ground. They can't move. They can't act or do anything. They're completely immobilized. It comes in a few varieties ranging from 6 to 8 seconds. You're going to want to get as close to 8 seconds as you can. The secondary stats you're looking for on this are stacking resistance and percent health. Now, this is one of the only pieces in the build that you're going to see that's going to have intelligence. Intelligence in this build doesn't do you very much good. It's going to increase your damage. You don't really need that damage because your fetishes aren't going to be hitting that hard, and your goal in this is to buff everybody else. So the focus on our gear is going to be strength. We're going to increase our own survivability through our gear. The Star Metal Kukuri. This is the heart of the build. It's going to, every single time your Fetish Army deals damage, it's going to reduce the cooldown of your Fetish Army and Big Bad Voodoo by 1 second. Later on in the video, I'll give you a demonstration, but this is going to allow you to consistently cast Big Bad Voodoo and Fetish Army. Big Bad Voodoo will be able to be cast in multiple spots, allowing DPS more mobility and damage. Next, Tasker and Theos. We're going to run this again with strength, increasing our armor, giving us vitality, and a must on this piece is cooldown reduction. We'll go over that in just a little bit, but cooldown reduction stacking is very important for being able to cycle your spell order. And having an additional 40 to 50% attack speed on your pets is going to allow them to deal more damage, and as they deal damage, it also reduces your cooldown. As far as your sets are concerned on this build, we're going to be using the Born set. The Born set is going to give you 15% increased health. Outstanding. On top of that, it's going to give us 10% cooldown. We're going to be using the strength as in all of our gear on this piece, and we're going to try to get as close to this as having vitality, all res, and cooldown reduction being a must. On your chest, you're going to be looking for, again, strength and vitality, but I like to opt for reduced damage from elites. It just means that you can get hit by elites harder and take less damage. The next set we're going to be using is Blackthorns. So sparing, going by each piece, the Blackthorn set is going to mitigate all damage you take from Desecrator, Molten, and Plagued. So you'll be able to move from DPS to the tank efficiently without taking damage from those ground effects. On your belt, you're going to be looking for All Res and Vitality, as well as percent life. On your pants, you're going to be looking for armor, and boots, armor as well. The next piece we're going to look at is your amulet. The Zephyrian Amulet is the best in slot for this. It's going to give you lightning resistance. Lightning being one of those effects that is very hard to dodge and can be targeted directly at you. Not only will you be immune to lightning, but you'll be able to drain it for health, thus increasing your survivability. It also works well with your gems. We'll go over that in just a second. You're going to want to get cooldown reduction on this piece. The next piece we're going to use is Nemesis Bracers. We're going to use these because the job of the support doctor is to be as much of a utility class to the group as possible. You're controlling mobs, increasing their damage, and with this it'll allow you to pop shrines. Extra champion packs means that you'll be able to get through the rift quicker. As for our shield is concerned, we're going to be using Storm Shield. Storm Shield has a unique ability of giving you reduced damage from melee attacks. On top of that, you're going to want to stack reduced damage from elites. This will allow you to take a huge amount of punishment from elite mobs. You're going to use your standard stacks of additional resistance and percent life and vitality. So, moving on to our rings. You're going to need a Ring of Royal Grandeur. Ring of Royal Grandeur because you're using two different sets. What you're looking for on it is a socket and full reduced cooldown. The second ring is up to you. I'm using a Zunimasa's Pox, but it's not a specific ring you're looking for, but a set of stats. You want cooldown reduction and as much life boosting effects as you can get. Armor works as well in this case. Next, we're going to look at our gems. This build runs 2. Moratorium being the first one. 25% of the damage you take is staggered over time based on the rank of your gem, in this case being 7.3 seconds. So whenever you take a hit, 25% of that damage is mitigated and spread. Now, the secondary effect on this is a 10% chance on kill to clear that staggered damage. This is not just your pets. This is the entire group. So if your DPS classes are getting kills, it can negate the stacks of damage that are holding on you. The last gem we're going to look at is Invigorating Gemstone. This gem reduces the damage you take while you're under the effect of a crowd control effect, such as Jailer. So in this case, it's reducing it by 41.6%, which is huge. On top of that, you're healing 20% of your maximum life when hit by a control impairing effect. That 20% gain is great when we look at how much health this build is going to stack. Again, we talked about what we're going to be stacking in terms of strength. We're going to be stacking cooldown and health. So let's take a look over here. Toughness-wise, we're looking at, with the particular build I'm running at 43,700,000 toughness, and armor at 14,220. It's giving you a lot of mitigation. And your resistances aren't suffering from the diamonds that are socketed into your gear. With your helm specifically, you're going to want a diamond in there to make sure that your cooldown reduction is above 50%. This is important. The reason your cooldown needs to be above 50% is with 50% cooldown and the 8-second fear root from your helm, you'll be able to keep mobs feared indefinitely. So what we're going to go ahead and do is take a look at the Paragon points. Now I'm Paragon 621 when I'm starting this video. So regardless of what Paragon level you are, we'll go over the basics. Vitality. You want to stack as much of it as possible. The longer you live, the longer you can help control mobs and increase damage. Now afterwards, you can start stacking points into a little bit of movement speed just to make sure that you have the mobility you need. But everything else into vitality. Your offensive skills. The first skill you're going to max is cooldown reduction. Again, you need to target that 50%. This is going to help you do it. After that, you max attack speed. Past that point, critical hit damage and critical hit chance really don't matter. It's adding a little bit more of a contribution to the group because your fetishes will be critting for a little bit harder damage, but not necessary if you're at a lower Paragon level. Defensive skills. You're going to want to start by maxing out your armor percentage. After that, cap out your resist all, then your percent life. And if you've got some extra points to throw around, life regeneration. Utility skills. The first thing you're going to max out is life on hit. You need this just to help buffer your own survivability. After that, area damage. Area damage will allow your fetishes to do damage to multiple targets. As they hit multiple targets, it reduces your cooldown even more on your Big Bad Voodoo and your fetish army because of your Star Metal Kukuri. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how this works in action. We're going to go out to the Fields of Misery, and just so we can show you how to control packs and spread damage from your Big Bad Voodoo. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to control this entire pack. We're going to bring this pack in, mass confuse it. And here's where your DPS comes in. Fetish Army comes out, allowing you to drop Big Bad Voodoo. Continuously controlling your mobs and continuously dropping Big Bad Voodoo across the battlefield. Using John is going to let you maintain your mobility throughout the process, and continuing to have that 100% fear rate is going to let you hold the mobs in place. With this, you can cast Big Bad Voodoo almost indefinitely, holding an elite pack in place, mass confusing them, buffering the damage to your DPS classes. The greater range, as you can see here with the Big Bad Voodoos, is allowing for movement speed throughout the range of this fight. It's going to make everyone more mobile and able to dodge effects such as those frozen pulses. So once again, guys, to sum up, what you're looking for in this build is a cooldown reduction that is above 50%. As much health as you can stack. In this case, I'm looking at over 1.1 million health. As much toughness as you can stack. You're getting this toughness through your strength bonuses. And what you're looking for is your, again, life percentage to maintain your health throughout this. You want to make sure that your gems, your Invigorating Gemstone and your Moratorium Gem are heavily upgraded so you can stagger that damage. I hope you guys have found this build effective. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments section below. Also, you can join us on stream at Twitch TV, Avaden_gaming, and join us for any for live streams. We'll be going over future guides and live streaming every day with Greater Rift gameplay. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on stream.